Hello, Padmaja, can you hear me? Hello.
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಸರ್?
ಈ ಕೆಲಸ. Okay.
Okay.
Good, good. Let me just share the connection. Initially, what I will do, I'll play I'll play the MPS video. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So that will keep on running,
Ah,
and till 2 o'clock it will be like that.
okay, sir.
After that, I will switch off, stop the video, and then I will start talking, and then I will introduce you. At exactly 2:15, I'll give you. Okay, so then you can.
I should log in at what time, sir?
Well, you can
2:10, na?
2:10 you can log in, or around 2 o'clock you can log in. Another 15, another 20 minutes you can do that.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
I'll just check if I can share and see.
Yeah.
Can see, no, sir?
Yes, I can see you.
No, the slides you can see, no?
Yeah, I can see. Go to next slide. Yeah, it's moving. It's moving. Yes, yes. You can hear me clearly?
Yes, sir, I can hear.
Okay. Do you have any sound in that or what?
No sound, only OT, some beep is there.
Okay. This is.
That's all.
Yeah.
Then I will leave, sir, now.
Yeah, you can do. You can relax. Hello, 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 hello.
board was there, what kind of operation is going to take surveillance. There was a good number of wheel rock 1, wheel rock 2, big Shetty, this kind of operation for gastric ulcer.
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you confirm? Any one of you can you confirm? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, welcome to today's program, that is MPS webinar on devices under watch, ensuring safety through Materiovigilance. This is a very interesting program what we have lined up today, and I will request Dr. Padmaja to join. Yeah, can you join, Dr. Jha? I think 100 people are already there. So we'll have to ask someone to leave. Okay, they can take. Yeah, one of you can you make space for speaker? One of you can move to YouTube channel. Can I request someone to help us? Because all the 100 seats are occupied. So can I request one of you, like Ankit Kapse? Can I request you? Hello, Ankit? Aniket? So we did not anticipate 100 full 100 positions to get occupied. One of you can. Okay. Now you can join, Dr. Padmaja. Yes, please. Quickly. Yeah. So Dr. Padmaja is online. And now I will introduce her. Before that, few words about MPS Society. As all of you know, MPS Society is doing a lot of good job by organizing various programs. We have been very active since 2016. The society was registered at that time. After that, we have been doing a lot of programs, and we did conduct a lot of hands-on workshops at yeah. So we have been conducting a lot of programs since last 10 years. This is our 10th year of operation, and we are based in Bangalore, but we are a medical pharmacology society, mainly catering to MD pharmacologists who are involved in various roles across academia and industry. And it is one of the perfect degrees which can offer flexibility among the professionals to do anything and everything that is possible under the profession of MD pharmacologist, including positions in the medical colleges. And in industry, we have a lot of positions in clinical research, pharma industry, marketing, and many more to come in. And we had already very interesting discussion by Dr. Babul sir, yeah, and in MPS Con 2025 at AIMS Guwahati. He gave a lot of details about the professional career objectives available under MD pharmacology. That is one aspect. Otherwise, we have been doing as an MD pharmacology society, we don't only cater to MD pharmacologists. We also, help to, help the other pharmacologists and life science scientists who can grow with us also. So MPS Society majorly offers life membership for to MD pharmacologists, but others, they can serve the society, and also they can achieve a position like honorary member, where you don't need to pay anything, but you will be honored with the help with a certificate of honorary membership, which will be valid for limited period, and based on your contribution to the society, we will continue to renew your honorary membership. That is mainly to, as you know that we think that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, like the whole world is one family. So MD pharmacologists cannot work alone. We have to work with others also. We need to collaborate with various professionals in this country, and just being an MD pharmacologist will not be able to achieve the complete goal. So it's very important for us to collaborate and network with other professionals too. So that's the major objective of allowing other members to become honorary members, where they will not be able to control the society activities. The whole society will be controlled by MD pharmacologists, and but we can collaborate with others. They can contribute to our profession, we can contribute to their profession, and in that way we will be able to network and we'll be able to continue our good work. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Padmaja. She is our today's speaker. So let me just introduce her, and then we can start with the program. Yeah. So hope all of you are able to see the screen. Dr. Padmaja is my colleague. She is working in my department as Associate Professor, Department of Pharmacology at CD Cymer. CD Cymer means Dr. Chandrama Dayanand Sagar Institute of Medical Education and Research. It comes under Dayanand Sagar University, located in Bangalore South. So recently, our district is renamed as Bangalore South. It comes under the Ramnagara Taluk, Ramnagara and Kanakpura. Kanakpura Taluk under Ramnagar. So Dr. Padmaja works with us as associate professor, and she's having 7 years of teaching experience with she has both industry experience and also academic experience. She worked in corporate hospital also. She earlier worked in Himalaya drug company. That's the Himalaya is one of the well-known pharma company, and also corporate hospital also. So she is currently working as a coordinator under MVPI at our center, CD Center. And again, she is a member of medical education unit in our hospital, in our medical college. And she has taken mentorship for, like she is mentoring various students and guiding students to conduct various research projects. So, and actively involved in research studies on tuberculosis and diabetes also. And she has done various publications, several publications on original research papers, and also she has done book chapters in index journals. Actively involved in pharmacovigilance activity in CD Cymer. So I'm the coordinator, but she works with me in various projects we have conducted. In addition, she was also a co-editor of pharmacovigilance reflective writing book, which I can remember very well, and we published it also. And she is also, like, she has also contributed actively to crucial pharmacology science, which also good number of projects, and she's continuing to work on that. And as coordinator, she has conducted various training programs on ADME in interdepartmental meetings, and also like device, like as a medical MVPI coordinator. She was invited as a speaker in various other forums also. So I'm very happy to introduce my colleagues now. I think we are almost nearer to the time. Now, can I request Dr. Padmaja to share the screen and then take over the stage?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. I'll start with my session. Give me a minute. Can you see the slides?
Yeah, I can see the slides.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So, today's topic is a very new topic, in fact. It started from 2018, and it is called Materiovigilance. So, now even the pharmacology department, the biomedical engineers, pharma industry as such, everybody is involved in keeping a monitor over the medical devices. So we know a lot of medical devices that are being used in our institutions, in our hospitals. Okay. So the objectives for today's session, I would just define what are medical devices, what are the different types of medical devices we use in the hospital setups. It's not just hospital setups, that we use the medical devices. It's also available to the consumers as well. Like in the COVID times, we used a few of these pulse oximeters. And then we'll learn a little bit about Medical Devices Act when it came into existence in India, and about Materiovigilance. What do you mean by Materiovigilance? What do you mean by Materiovigilance program? And what is its importance as of now? We will learn what are the notified medical devices and is any issues? I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Padmaja, can you unmute yourself? Actually, I muted you by mistake. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we will learn a little bit about what are these notified medical devices, what are the risk classification of medical devices, what is the need for material vigilance as of now, the prevailing situation around us, and about how do we report all these medical device related adverse events, that is MDAE, and what are the problems that we are going to encounter when we are going to report all these MDAs. And then I will just summarize all these issues at the end. So these are the different types of medical devices we use in the hospital setup. Many are non-invasive, many are invasive as well. And the dangers will vary from one to the other. It's not that the non-invasive ones are not dangerous, because it gives false readings or it might cause false alarms. So these also can be important when you're taking the readings from these devices. So most of these on your screen are non-invasive devices, or they are minimally invasive devices, as we know, right? Then as we go ahead, there will be more invasive devices that we come across, like implants, stents. Then there are MRIs, CT machines, ultrasounds, right? So these are the various types of medical devices and many more that we encounter in the hospital setups or in the healthcare situation as such. So these medical devices include instruments, apparatus like the BP apparatus, appliances, implants, copper T devices, or it could be the cardiovascular stents, materials or other articles, whether used alone or in combination, including a software or an accessory. So we are including even those which are having monitors like the computers. So software are also come under the medical devices, or an accessory intended by its manufacturer to be used specially for human beings or animals, which does not achieve the primary intended action in or on human body or animals by any pharmacological or immunological or metabolic means, but which may assist in its intended function by such means for one or more of the specific purposes of diagnosis, prevention, monitoring, treatment, or elevation of any disease or disorder, any injury or disability investigation, replacement or modification, or support of the anatomy or of a physiological process. They are also either involved, they may also be involved in supporting or sustaining life, disinfection of the medical, those involved in the disinfection of medical devices, and those involved in the control of conception. So it's a huge, broad range that we are including over here. And as we see, we are going to include a lot of devices for that matter. We are not going to restrict ourselves to only which are used only for treatment. So we are including everything that are involved in diagnosis, prevention, treatment, or even for the elevation of most of these disorders. They can also be used for support of anatomy, like all these limb replacement or joint replacement devices that we use, prostheses that we use. Everything comes under the medical devices. Supporting or sustaining life are like the ventilators that we normally use. Those used for disinfection of medical devices, they also come under the medical devices, and control of conceptions like the IUCDs. So this is the whole range that we come across. It mainly excludes the drugs, vaccines, and the food, because they have a separate vigilance program for that, and that is Pharmacovigilance Program of India. While the rest of it, as you see, as I told in the definition, it may be used as an assistive mode or as a combination product, which is used as a replacement for any kind of anatomical structure or for replacing any of the physiological functions, processes like your hemodialysis machines, injury or instability like your implants. And as we come down on the right side, there are those used for diagnosis, prevention, diagnosis like your BP apparatus, pulse oximeter, right? Weighing machines. So on the other side, those used for disinfection of medical devices, then those like ventilators, which are used for supporting or sustaining life, and those used for control of consumption, like I told, IUCDs. So in medical devices, we are also going to include a few of the in vitro diagnostic devices. This includes the control materials, calibrators, software, reagents. So these in vitro diagnostic devices may be used for diagnosis, aids to diagnosis, screening, monitoring, or for the prognosis. So even the in vitro diagnostic devices that are used in departments like pathology, biochemistry, they can also be included under the Materiovigilance program as medical devices. So why are we paying so much attention to the medical devices as of now? Because of the current scenario of the medical device market that is prevailing in India, right? So this is the global device market, the first graph that you see, and it is on the rise. By 2030, it is going to be substantially more than what it was from the 2020. Similarly, below you are going to see the Indian device market, which is also on a substantial rise because we also produce a lot of these devices. And we have a lot of companies working on them. Then this medical device market are also on the increase because of the stress that is being added on to diagnosis, that is being added during the treatment. And with a lot of technology being introduced into the healthcare, there will be a lot of medical devices that will come into the market. And in the second graph, you are going to see the device imports that happens across the globe into India. And the amount, the kind of market that you see is huge. It is more than that, I believe, than the drugs as of now. So we need to know a little bit of difference between the drugs and the devices. How do they vary from each other? So when we come to the devices, they are mainly based on the engineering, right? While drugs are mainly dependent on the chemistry and pharmacology of the drugs. And in drugs, we are going to test for the safety and efficacy, while in devices, we are going to check for safety, performance, or accuracy, right? And among drugs, there will be 4 clinical trials. While when you come to the devices, there is feasibility studies that will be done, which are mainly done through clinical evaluations. And GMP is the one based on which the drugs will be processed further for the clinical studies. Here it is quality management safety that will be looked into the devices. Biocompatibility is the one that will be checked with the devices, and shorter product life cycles are likely to be tested with the devices because most of the times they come for timely repairs and maintenance. So they are often checked for short product life cycle. And device malfunctions are the ones that you are going to check whenever you are checking for any kind of adverse events on the human body. Here we are going to check for drug interactions, adverse effects, etc. So this is a main difference that you should keep in mind till now, what has been done with the devices and how it comes into the market, right? So regulatory bodies that are involved in India, it is mainly CDSCO for both drugs and the devices, while FDA in US, Health Canada in Canada, and HSA in Singapore. Even though I'm not very, I don't know the entire process related to the devices, how it is processed. This is the flow chart that is provided by CDSO on how the devices are approved from the first stage to the end, from the point they are being manufactured and the point they have attained their biocompatibility and safety assessment, and then they come into the market, right? Now, what is the need for so much of vigilance? Why are we so scared about these devices? What is really happening? See, the companies do bring about the products into the market, but what happens when it comes to the end users, when it is being applied in the hospital setup? So I believe you know about all these incidences. It has come in the newspapers when a man was sucked into an MRI machine and he died within the MRI machine because he was taken along with after the oxygen cylinder was sucked into the MRI machine along with the man. Then there was some failure with the stimulators that were used in the management of paralysis, stroke. So this also uh, resulted in the person ending up paralyzed. Um, and there is some warning that had been issued by the Indian drug regulators about a particular brand of pacemakers, that is Medtronic pacemakers. And there was one incident in Pune wherein newborns were burned within the incubator. Medical devices related deaths are being given more importance nowadays, and a lot of cases have been filed against the medical device related injuries. With reference to this, I would like to show you one pic. This is a catheter that is introduced for establishing the central venous line. It's actually a straight catheter that will be introduced into the central venous line. After entering into the vein, it has bent and then it was slowly pulled out. This is not a single incident. It keeps happening in the OTs, and it is until and unless we do active surveillance and we ask them if something has happened with the devices, nobody comes out with that. So this is one incident, and it is potentially very, it's like a serious adverse event that could have been lethal to the patient. One more I would show you. This is a very invasive incident that you can see. One more incident is this one, not a invasive one. It was aborted and stopped before using on the patient. It is an extension set. So there is a leak that you can see, and it often interferes with the work that the healthcare professionals will be doing. It takes time, and that can hamper with the patient's
Open the PPT.
okay, okay. So it can interfere with the time taken to complete any task. So that extension set has to be inserted immediately, and the procedure has to be
Sorry, can you put it into slideshow mode?
Oh, yes, sir. Is it visible, sir? Is it visible? Can any of the participants say, is the slide visible?
Slide is
Yes,
visible,
ma'am.
but it is not a slideshow mode.
Okay, okay, sir. All right.
Yeah, now better.
Okay, sir. So as you can see, it can take time. It takes the time of the physician who is taking care. It can take the time of the health professionals like the nursing staff who are working there, or brothers and sisters who are working on setting up the patient for the surgery. So time is vital when you're doing any procedure. So this is the importance that we have to give for the medical devices. That is why we have come across this factor called or this program called Materiovigilance. So as the term itself says, we are going to keep a vigilance on the various medical devices. So Materiovigilance is defined as a combined system of performance, characterization, monitoring, identifying, collecting, reporting, and analyzing any untoward occurrence caused by medical devices. So it is basically a post-marketing surveillance of medical equipment, including the in vitro diagnosis. We saw through the difference between the drugs and the devices. We saw that the devices don't have that many safety, safety parameters that they have to go through, unlike the drugs, where we have 4 clinical study trials and after that we have post-marketing surveillance. So in Materiovigilance, this is what we are trying to do. We are basically doing the post-marketing surveillance of the medical equipment, which is very much essential because as you saw in the previous slide, they have a very short life cycle and they go for maintenance all the time, right? So initiation of this national program was by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare on 10th February 2015. They proposed the Materiovigilance Program of India. So Materiovigilance Program of India was used to monitor the safety of medical devices in the country on 6th July 2015. The idea was conceived in February, came into the board by 6th July at IPC Ghaziabad by the DCGI. So as you can see, the authorities and coordinators who are involved in regulating the MVPI. So mainly we have monitoring centers in various hospitals. This program is not confined to only the hospitals. We have many independent corporate hospitals, medical college hospitals being included in the program. So this is a medical device. These centers are known as Medical Device Adverse Event Monitoring Center. And then there is the National Collaborating Center, which is the Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology. And then we have National Coordination Center, and that is IPC, Ghaziabad. Then we have the Technical Support and Resource Center, that is the National Health System Resources Center, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, New Delhi. And finally, all these reports are likely to be pulled over and sent to CDSCO, that is Central Drug Standard Control Organization, which is a national regulatory authority, and they bring about the device alerts. If you open the CDSCO page, you are going to see many device alerts being published on their notification page. So this is how it works. I think somebody has scribbled on this screen. Okay, so the main, we have these MDMCs, that is each of these college hospitals. Then we have the CDSCO, which is the ultimate center wherein we are going to send all the report, right? So we have many centers. This was an old slide. There are many more centers being added now. This was seen in the initial phase, in the initial period of bringing this program. So what is the scope of MVPI? MVPI mainly aims to create a nationwide system for patient safety monitoring to analyze the benefit-risk ratio of medical devices, to generate evidence-based information on safety of medical devices, to support the CDSCO in the decision-making process on the use of medical devices, to communicate the safety information on use of medical devices to various stakeholders to minimize the risk, to emerge as a national center of excellence for materiovigilance activity, to collaborate with other healthcare organizations for the exchange of information and data management. So this has been formulated and it almost similarly resembles the pharmacovigilance program. And but in case of materiovigilance, I would always like to suggest that the stakeholders have to be very active in this program, right? I'll come to that way forward. Any issues?
No, nothing. You can go ahead.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So medical devices have brought about CDSCO has brought about certain criteria for medical device manufacture and its release into the market. That is known as the notified medical devices, which needs approval or oversight from the CDSCO before they are sold or used in India. Non-notified, they do not require any approval from the CDSCO and can be used without regulatory check. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, has notified the Medical Device Rules 2017 in 2017, and the Medical Device Rule later came to effect from 2018. So coming to the notified medical devices, these are the notified medical devices. There are almost 36 that has been brought out by CDSCO. It needs approval by the CDSCO to be sold in India. So this includes the disposable hypodermic syringes, disposable hypodermic needles, disposable perfusion sets, substances used for in vitro diagnosis, including the blood grouping sera. As I told, these are the diagnostic kits that are available. Cardiac stents, these are the invasive ones, drug-eluting stents, catheters, intraocular lens, IV cannula, bone cements, heart valves, scalp vein set, orthopedic implants, internal prosthetic replacement, ablation devices, ligatures, sutures and staplers, intrauterine devices, condoms, tubal rings, surgical dressings, umbilical tapes, blood or blood component bags, organ preservation solution. These are the newly added ones from 2020. Nebulizers, blood pressure monitoring device, glucometer, digital thermometer, all implantable medical devices equipment, CT scan equipment, MRI equipment, defibrillators, PET scan equipment, X-ray machines, dialysis machines, bone marrow cell separator, disinfectants and insecticides specified in the Medical Devices Rules 2017. So these are the 36 notified medical devices. I hope I'm clear with that. Notified medical devices are the ones that are notified by CDSU. Without their approval, these products cannot come, or these devices cannot come into the market. And they are constantly monitored by the CDSU. Then we classify the medical devices based on the extent of risk and damage they can cause if they malfunction. So they are low risk devices. As you can see, most of them are non-invasive: thermometers, tongue depressors, surgical dressings and swabs. Low moderate risk is with the hypodermic needles, suction equipment, hematology reagent kits. Moderate high risk group of devices are lung ventilator, bone fixation plate, intraocular lens. Then the high risk ones, which are highly invasive with the high with the higher risk when it is being introduced into the body, like the cardiac stents, implantable defibrillators, pacemakers, cochlear implants, etc. So this is a vague list of the risk classification for the medical devices. Then key considerations that we have to keep in mind when we are keeping a check on the medical devices would be our biomedical engineers. Their inputs are very important because they are the ones who take care of the maintenance of the devices. Risk management and details of that particular device which will be available. Expert clinician opinion, clinical investigation details, whenever any investigations have been done and which might show certain derangement. Technical manual or user manual or literature that will be available with the medical devices, regulatory status of that particular medical device, and related baseline studies. There are not many articles on materiovigilance or medical device related adverse event as such, but if there are a few baseline study, that will very much help in monitoring a particular medical device. So certain amount of incident reporting criteria that we need to keep in mind when we notice any adverse event related to a device they come under ABCs. These are known as incident reporting criteria. A is an untoward event which has occurred. B is manufacturer's device is suspected to be a contributory cause of that event. C, it's a serious adverse event which could have led to the death of the patient or the user or other person, or it could have resulted in serious deterioration in the state of health of a patient, user or other person, including but not limited to permanent impairment of a body structure or a body function, hospitalization or any birth defects or congenital anomaly. So any kind of serious deterioration in their state of health can be included as an incident reporting protocol. So who can report the MDAE? So MDAE can be reported by clinicians, biomedical engineers. Clinicians are the ones who use a lot of devices, so we would expect them to report. Biomedical engineers, they are constantly in touch with its devices. They are the second line who come in contact with these devices because They are the ones to whom the clinicians and the nursing staff, they're going to report all these adverse events to. So they are very important in MDA reporting. Then clinical engineers, hospital technology managers, pharmacists and nurses. Pharmacists also also will be in control of few of these devices like the syringes, hypodermic needles, then the extension set that I showed you. So that will be comes under the pharmacist. So they are also included in the program, and any such defects of the devices can be reported by them. Then they are the most important stakeholders, medical device manufacturers, because whatever malfunctions happen with the devices will be reported by the biomedical engineers to the companies, manufacturing companies, and it would be better if they report the incident. Even if the hospitals or any other setup slower down have not reported, it is better if they report it to the CDSCO, right? And not the last ones, they are the consumers, they are the end users. They use a few of the devices. Now you can see many of our homes will have the weighing machines, we have the pulse oximeter, we have the thermometers, we have um, some of them even have BP apparatus, especially all the digital ones. And we have nebulizers at home. So these are all notified devices. So consumers also can report these MDA. I don't think even the consumers are aware that they can report any of the faults related to the medical devices. They don't know whom to report it to. They go back to the pharmacy and they give back the product, or they ask them for the repair or replacement. But it is very essential to report these adverse events. Why do we need to report? Now, this is one question that every time it comes to our mind, and it is not taken seriously. Adverse event reporting is the communication of an event or an issue to those who can make a contribution towards a meaningful outcome. So basically, we need devices. We are moving forward with technology. So we do need a lot of devices which will ease us, which will give us good diagnosis, which helps us to give good treatment, which helps us to lead to a good prognosis of the disease, right? We need a lot of devices for that matter. And if these devices are not there, it can make most of these parameters that I told you very difficult. And we need good devices for that matter. We need good technology. If we don't give a feedback about these devices, how is there going to be any more improvement of these devices, right? So that is why we need to report the adverse events, so that the manufacturing companies gets to know of the problems that the treating physicians or the nursing staff or the pharmacist face every time when that hypodermic needle is given, or when that catheter is introduced, or when a patient is fixed on a ventilator. So we get to know how many such incidents are reported, right? This will not be a single event. It happens many times, and it saves time, it saves resources. It helps to make the work more efficient, the treatment more efficient, healthcare more efficient. So that is why we need to report MDA for improvement in the technology, to bring good devices into the market, and to improve the efficiency of these devices in our healthcare. Now, what to report? So now this is something most of the healthcare professionals always ask you when you're collecting the medical device related adverse event. Even I have come across these questions on, they normally say these incidents or these device malfunctions regularly happen with these devices, and we notify it to biomedical engineers. Even biomedical engineers saying the same thing. Even before any event has happened, we have prevented it from happening. We have repaired, we have corrected the machine back, and it is now ready for use. So what is that what you want us to report will always be their question. So there is a definition that was proposed by our Materiovigilance program. So any dysfunction or any change of characteristics and or performance of a device and any inadequacy in the labeling or instructions which might lead to or have led to death or serious relapse in the state of health of a patient, a user, or a third party. Right? This is very clear. Whenever a device malfunctions, when the labeling, when the instructions that is available with the devices have been inadequate and it is not up to your satisfaction, you're not able to understand how that device performs. In all such cases, either it would have led to a death or any serious injury, or it would have delayed the treatment, it would have interfered with the treatment, right? Delaying of a treatment can also interfere with the patient's prognosis, right? So all these can be reported as MDAE based on the extent of the damage or the risk it causes. So not only must one notify serious incidents which have actually taken place, but also cases where there was a risk of a serious incident, but that incident was avoided thanks to the attention and action of the relevant people. So this is one more factor that I told you. Biomedical engineers always say, see, we were called because the ventilator stopped working. There was some problem with the monitor. There was some problem with the device itself. Even the hemodialysis machine. These are some things that I have come across too, so I'm narrating it. So they say we corrected it even before it was connected to the patient. So there was no any damage caused to the patient. But I always tell them, even if that event was avoided, even if that risk was overcome and it didn't reach the patient, we still want those adverse events to be reported. See, what I told you, why we need to report? We need to report for the technology to become more efficient and efficacious. If you don't report, how will the manufacturer, how will the governing bodies know whether the device is working or not? I believe you would have noticed during the COVID times, there was a particular picture that was circulating with many pulse oximeters showing different readings at a time. And this was a fact that was happening. Even now, when we are checking blood pressure, when we go to the OPDs, different blood pressure monitors might show different readings. So which blood pressure reading are you going to take? When you fix a patient to ventilator, that ventilator might be showing a wrong reading. In case if the clinician is not very alert enough and not correlating it with the clinical management, then he might take those readings for the face value that the device is giving, right? So you report when the device malfunction has causing any serious event, when it is causing any injury to the patient, or you even report when it was a malfunction but has not caused any event to the patient, and it was avoided. Like I showed you with that extension set, the doctor found out even before it was fixed to the patient's IV line that there was a leakage happening, and it was not a single event. That extension set was giving a problem, that particular uh, manufacturing particular product of a particular manufacturing company. So she told this was not a single event. The same company's extension set for producing same kind of leakage, but it was reported to the pharmacy. I don't know what the pharmacy did, but that report never, I don't know, it has reached to the higher regulatory authority. So this, you can see the hurdles that we face when we are reporting the adverse events. We see it with the drugs. As such, we also see it with the devices also. They are the same. Reporting any adverse events, it is very difficult. And as I told, please include all the events, whether it has or it has not resulted in any damage to the patient. Right? When, for example, a hemodialysis machine was supposed to be fixed to a patient, you know how important hemodialysis is for a patient. And because there was a malfunctioning, they have to call the technician. He comes and he repairs it. And if that hospital has only one setup, then that patient cannot be fixed to that. So you're delaying the treatment for the patient. So you know why we need to report. We know now what to report. And how to report is the next question. So we need to report. We have a few modalities through which we can report. Initially, we had the MDA forms available, which we would, it was actually a very 3 to 4 pages form. And most of the time, me being me being a doctor and a pharmacologist, it was the information that need to be filled in it used to be very difficult. So we need a lot of data about the device that has to be filled in it, but an overall information that you usually get from the devices, it will be stuck on the devices. Even if you notice that a manufacturing company name, the lot number or the patch number, license number, if you note even these basic details and fill this form and send, that is also fine. Then we have the PVPI mobile app, which has a section for MDA reporting. We have a toll-free number also where we can call and report it. But now, since it is still in its infancy and we are the coordinators, there are deputy coordinators who are reporting the MDA, we have an institutional reporting mode available. Once we write a mail, we have a PVPI center in most of the medical college hospitals. Through them, we can write to the IPC and they can share you the link. And this link is also fine where we can sign in. Username and password can be generated, and we can set up our own institution into this portal, and we can start reporting. I'll just show you the page. This is the AD-RMS page of the IPC, and it is our college's ADME reporting page. And this is the, I hope you can see the page here. So this is the ICSR reporting page. And so a lot of general information we need to fill in this form, because we cannot report an event without the details about the event. So little bit of information we need about the patient, about who is reporting, just like in pharmacovigilance. I believe you have done a lot of pharmacovigilance reporting similar to that. We need information, patient details. We need the reporter details, who is reporting the incident. It can be a biomedical engineer. You would have come across the event when you would have just gone on routine walk through the hospital setup. They would have seen a BP apparatus. The nursing staff would have complained about it. Then there are a few around I think 9 pages that has to be filled. So medical device related page that has to be filled. Then there are event details, patient details, medical and past drug history, hospitalization and death, test and procedure, assessment. So what I have seen till now, it is very difficult to get all the information. I get to know about the events, about little bit I get to know about the patient details, and the event details and who is reporting. These are the things I normally enter. Further onwards, the assessment, we normally have our own committee. So we sit and we do the root cause analysis over there. Okay. So I'll go back to my slide.
Ma'am,
Yeah. Just give me a minute.
You can continue.
So this is that MDRS portal done through a proper center, because MD reporting is not as simple as your pharmacovigilance reporting. But I would suggest please start reporting from somewhere. We need to begin from somewhere. You may not have all the details, but if you have the details about the patients, about the events, about the reporting person, then that is enough for a beginner. You go ahead with that and report the event, right? So we come across a few terminologies in the Materiovigilance program of India, just like pharmacovigilance. There is adverse events. These are again unexpected or inappropriate medical occurrences, unintended disease or injury, or on inconvenient clinical signs in subjects, users, or other persons. whether or not related to the medical devices. So types of adverse events we take into consideration are serious or non-serious, expected or unanticipated, frequent or rare. So serious adverse events, we are all aware of that till now. It's the same thing we are going to apply for even MDA because the seriousness of the events is the same. That is, it could either result to death, life-threatening, inpatient or prolonged hospitalization, permanent impairment, congenital anomalies. So these are the serious adverse events that you're going to take into consideration. So adverse device events, these includes the device deficiency, that is inadequacy of a medical device, either identity, quality, durability, reliability, safety, or performance. Sometimes in very old college hospitals, you will notice there will be a very old device that is being still used and it doesn't have any information being attached on that device or stuck on that device. It's all gone, worn and torn off. So that has to be reported. Malfunctions, use error, or inadequacy in the information supplied by the manufacturer. Adverse device effect, adverse event related to the use of an investigational medical device. Device inadequacies that are seen with implantations, deployment, installations, operations, or any malfunctions, and user errors also. Then we move on. Once now we know why to report, when to report, how to report, and we have reported the medical devices. We know this has happened with that particular device. So now next step, we have to go ahead on doing little bit of causality assessment of whether that particular event is related to the malfunctioning of that device. So we assess the relationship between the use of a medical device and occurrence of an adverse event. It is also used to evaluate and to check that the particular treatment is the cause of the observed adverse event. So relationship you are going to check with the causality assessment. It is an essential part of MDA report. Okay, then you do the benefit risk assessment. Signal detection will be done through the CDSCO, and they are the ones who are going to send the early warning systems or alarms. So root cause analysis can be done at the time of your causality assessment by various methods that you know through pharmacovigilance. Same thing can be applied even here. So levels of causality that you are going to see are similar to those with the drugs, not related, unlikely, possible, probable, or related, right? So now, as I told you, the manufacturers, the biomedical engineers will say these are not medical device related adverse events. This normally happens in the hospital setup and we have prevented it. This is a very standard answers we get when we want to report the adverse event. So now you need to have some answers ready on what you cannot consider it as adverse events related to medical devices. So it's not a known side effect of the product category. As like the drugs, even the devices come with their own set of some contraindications. So like the defibrillators, when you're using, you have to be careful. The person who is assisting you, nobody should touch the patient when the defibrillator is being placed. Then when the patient gets into CT MRI, there should be no metals on the person. So these are some instructions that will be made available for that particular device. So not related is when it is not a known side effect of the product category, the discontinuation of the application or reduction of the level of its user, it does not impact on the event. And there is no temporal relationship with the use of the investigational device or the procedure. You do not find any association at all because the device was used at 2 o'clock. The patient developed adverse event very late, only with few devices. That much of discretion and knowledge you should have about the particular use of the device and that particular adverse event. Then attribution to another cause involves a body site or an organ not expected to be affected by the device or the procedure. Adverse event does not follow a known response pattern to the medical devices. And these are the main events wherein you can say it is not an MDAE. What happens to these MDA reports? It is usually sent to your MDA Center, Materiovigilance Center, IPC. It collects and ensures the completeness of the relevant information in the received MDA reports. It consults with the subject expert committee if necessary about that particular device. If they keep getting the signals again and again about a particular device from a particular manufacturer, then they may bring about alerts. Disseminates information and or oversees corrective actions to regulatory authority and or other centers. Exchanges information with other regulatory agencies. So this is at the IPC level. So what happens at your level when you're collecting the device related adverse events? So when you're collecting, you are going to report it to all the stakeholders. So who are your stakeholders? Your stakeholders are the people who are going to use the device, all the healthcare professionals who supply the device like your pharmacy, or it comes through companies, through your biomedical engineers. So all these people are informed. And if more than one signal has happened, then this device has to be recalled. That particular batch of device has to be recalled back. And the expert committee in the hospital setup or in the college setup have to undergo discussion of whether to continue buying or taking the products of that particular company. They can review and they can take a decision on that. This is at your level. The report that you are going to collect, you are supposed to send it to the higher centers for their discussion and their review. Then these are few of the medical device alerts that you come across through in the CDSU website. Even now, if you open, you will find many medical device alerts there. So benefits of MVPI, generation of medical device safety data based on Indian population. Evidence-based regulatory decisions can be taken. Educational institutes to initiatives to healthcare professionals, benefit risk assessment of the medical devices, updation on the patient or the user information leaflet when there is any new MDII, then it has to be included in the leaflet. Warnings, contraindications, and precautionary measures. Population specific safety data can be generated because just like the drugs, even the devices and their effects vary among different populations like pediatric, geriatric, pregnancy, lactation. Safe and effective use of medical devices, and public confidence needs to be restored and enhanced about medical devices, because even now when I sit in the clinic, I see patients asking, my blood pressure apparatus shows a different reading when compared to yours. So I'm speechless over there. There is nothing much that I can do and say that this is a device I have, this is a reading. Let's observe or see, do the reading another 3-4 times again. And you continue your reading at home. So we need good devices in the market, right? And we need devices which are personalized also. Like for the pediatric, geriatric, pregnancy, lactation, we need it to be personalized also, not the same devices for everyone, because their requirement may vary. And we need the healthcare professionals to be actively involved to report the adverse events, because they are the end users for most of the invasive devices. And these adverse events, newer adverse events, have to be included in the leaflets available with the devices, which is similar to what happens with the drugs. Every time a new alert happens, it is being circulated. The contraindications will have to be put in the leaflet. Similar to the medical devices, this has to be done. So as you can see, this particular chart, there was a regulatory gap. There is no reporting happening at all, or the data is not available at all from India. In this particular newspaper, I didn't get, probably they didn't get any report. As I told, there are not many uh, research articles available on MDA reports. So it's a very new area wherein a lot of research can be done, a lot of products can be followed up for all the young students who are here, research scholars. I think you can do a good amount of follow-up of these devices and produce some good data, publish those data, make it available to the global market, so that the doctors, the nursing professionals, the pharmacists, pharmacy field, the manufacturing companies involved in the medical field, they all get to know about these devices and how they're functioning. Your post-marketing data, we need it, right? So the tools and guidelines for signal detections have to be developed. Causality assessment should be validated because we are using the same pharmacovigilance-based causality assessment. MVPI, Materiovigilance Program of India, appears to be robust on paper, yet the annual performance report of MVPI and Monitoring Center regarding collection and submission of data is not published. And we need, as I told, more articles on that. We need follow-ups with respect to implants and stents that are being used. We need follow-up data, which is not available. The analysis of reported adverse events and action taken towards reported adverse event is not in public domain. So we need that also. And many devices that are available are still out of the notified list. We have to include them in the notified list. Nothing can be taken lightly anymore. We have to include, there are, as I showed you previously, there are only 36 medical devices available. We need more devices in the list. So let's try to bring all this into the view of our government and IPC. And we have to become more active with the medical devices because they are just like drugs and they are everywhere in the market. As soon as you enter into any of the OPDs in the hospital setup, in your own homes, if you see, there will be many medical devices. And I can say you cannot be sure whether they're working right or wrong. Challenges at the ground level is mainly because of inadequate reporting, poor awareness about the MDA reporting among devices end users, and we need active involvement of biomedical engineers. Please, you are the first-hand people who are going to get the reports. We need more reporting from the biomedical engineers. We need this hierarchical setup, lack of time and incentives. All this has to be more streamlined. Lack of industry responsiveness in this matter. It's a huge market, and we need the medical device market to take the owners to respond to these events. We need easier and user-friendly reporting system. As I told, there are 4 to 5 pages, and me, as you saw, I'm in many committee, and with the time frame, it is very difficult for us to report in those 4 or 5 forms. We need assistance for that. But how much ever possible, we are trying to report here in our center, in our college, in our hospital. But we need more support in this matter. Right now, I am able to collect around maybe maximum 5 to 6 MDAs, but I'm very sure there are more than that, more than 5 to 6 events. I feel there are more than 10 events that are happening at a time. Way forward in Materiovigilance program would be to encourage active surveillance, need for additional manpower support for MDA reporting. We need periodic training programs. We need reinforcement every other time. We need to hold training programs for the health professionals, for biomedical engineers on why we need to report the MDAs. Workshops have to be conducted as much as possible. We need to involve multiple stakeholders. We need industry support. So basically, we are in the phase of needing help from every aspect possible until we get streamlined. How we know that we have to report adverse events now? Even the clinicians know, they come back to us. We need to make them aware of even adverse event reporting as well related to the devices. So safety of more than 1.39 billion Indian people is on these devices. We need to be very careful when we are using the devices. To provide safe and effective medical treatment is one of the mandate of Indian government. So let's be of some help over there. Some of the studies suggest that MDAs in India are leading to hospitalization, prolongation of hospitalization, which are not reported. Constitutes a significant economic burden on the patient as well as on the country because it prolongs their hospitalization, prolongs their treatment care. The financial implication on the patient is also huge. To avoid substandard and incompatible devices flooded in the Indian market, every other time you will see many manufacturers, many distributors with many of these devices, invasive, non-invasive, bringing the products into the market. To optimize the device's structural and functional components, we want good products, as I told. We want good design of devices available in the market. Even if I'm using a syringe, I don't want it to cause any pain to my patient. Of course, the way I give is also can also result in pain. But sometimes the sharpness of the needle, the bluntness of the needle can also cause pain to the patient. And I'm not aware of that. So let me report even that, so that the companies can work on it and bring about good products into the market. It is of utmost priority to have a vigilance system in place to record feedback from the patients and the users. So here in this session, the most important thing from our point of view that I want to tell is, please report the MDAs. Please report it. That is the first thing that we can do in contributing to good devices in the market. So thank you all. Thank you for patient hearing. If anybody has any questions, we have a few minutes.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Padmaja. It was a
Thank you, sir.
elaborate presentation. It went very well. Uninterruptedly.
Thank
I
you, sir.
think, even I was going through the chat. Good that we have very nice participants. What they are doing, they are only asking the questions, they are only answering the questions.
Oh, nice. It's a very simple, yes, sir. It's a very simple thing. Please report MDAs. Don't hesitate on what to report, on what not to report. Stop at that hesitation. Go ahead and report MDAs.
Yeah. So here, what is happening? There is one question.
Yes, sir.
So there are devices which are used in combination with drugs, and biological. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Drugs, biological. Does they devices with biologicals for drugs? Okay. Does these come under Materiovigilance program of India or CBI?
Yes.
What is the requirement of vigilance activity in India for device part?
Okay, I think I have covered the last part on why to report, how to report. So the first part, of course, you have to report these devices, which are, as I told you in the definition itself, they have told. We are monitoring all the devices, whether it is used for diagnosis, prevention, treatment, etc. Even if you are using it along with the biologicals also, somewhere it is used for along with the biologicals for a purpose. So it is used on a patient. So it can also result in some form of adverse event, and we want to monitor those devices also. Further categorizations can be done, further causality assessment can be done. But right now, what we want is for you to report.
And I would say that if I am a reporter, if you are doing reporting under the MDPV, MDV,
MVPI, sir.
MVPI, yeah.
Yes, sir, it's a new thing. I know.
Yeah, yeah. So MVPI, if you are reporting under MVPI for the device part, I suggest you should also report for the drug part under
Yes,
the
sir.
MVPI also. So
Yes,
that
sir.
both the antennas are
Covered.
covered. Yeah. So that
They can
yeah.
they can cover the whole event both in both the forms.
Yeah.
Both sides they have to report. That is more ideal. So we get to know that it is being used with the biological, and there we can do the causality assessment further.
Yeah. So, and one more question is there. In India, medical devices, I think Pooja is one. I think she is working under in some device company maybe, or under that. She is answered some questions. What devices are, how the devices are divided? Can you just little bit highlight some of that?
That is the risk classification, sir, that we had. We had I will just go to that 1 minute. Oh, sorry. Give a minute. There's a risk classification. There is a low risk classification. There is
the class, I think they have divided the devices
four class.
Yeah, four class.
Yes.
Yeah. You can go ahead.
So this is the main classification that they have given us. So low risk are usually the non-invasive ones that we are going to include. Like you can see the thermometers, which we use it in our houses also. Digital thermometers, it is now most commonly used than the mercury ones that we used to use before. Then tongue depressors, surgical dressing, swabs. These are all non-invasive ones, external application ones. They come under low risk. Then there are low moderate risk, which are mildly invasive but are not expected to produce much of damage. Hypodermic needles, suction equipment, hematology reagent kits. These are mainly used in labs, especially pathology lab, because they can give wrong readings, right? And it can interfere with the diagnosis. So we are including them under low moderate risk. Then moderate high risk, these are invasive. It includes lung ventilator, bone fixation plate, intraocular lens. We had seen an incidence wherein a bone fixation plate was associated with an incidence of asystole when it was introduced into the patient's body. So these kinds of events happen very commonly. When you meet the doctors and talk to them, they tell this is very common. This happens very commonly. So there is some improvisation that has to happen with the devices, right? Intraocular lens that are used for surgeries, cataract surgeries. So sometimes not all the patients may be able to be successful in the surgery. So in such cases, we need good intraocular lenses. It's a very commonly done procedures, cataract surgery. So it's not a good thing when a device malfunctions and the person is not able to see. So it also adds on to his financial burden. It adds on to his morbidity. It prolongs his suffering. So it's a moderate high risk. And the most high risk ones are the those which result in serious adverse events like cardiac stents, implantable defibrillators, cochlear implants. Then there are all these pacemakers. So these are highly high risk classification of medical devices. These are few examples that they have quoted. And when we go through around in the hospital, maybe we can categorize them based on these parameters, right? MVPI still needs to bring about a huge list. CDSU, I would suggest that they have to come with a huge list of these risk classification of medical devices where we can categorize these devices that are available into these 4 categories. So as I told, it is still in infancy.
Even software are also
Yes, sir.
come under the devices.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Like all these cardiac monitors, the anesthesia monitors, if they malfunction, it is a huge trouble for the clinicians when they are performing certain procedures, trying to give anesthesia. At the right moment, if it doesn't function, it only delays everything. So it is very, very essential that we have good devices in the market. And it needs attention.
And many times, while doing surgery, some of the, like some sutures may be left behind.
Yes, sir.
Some sutures or some needles are left behind. I think
Yes,
those
yes.
things also need to be reported.
Yes, sir. Swabs. It's a low risk device.
Yeah.
So it's swabs also come and die.
Yeah.
Nothing
So
goes. Yeah.
And defibrillator does not, give the sufficient shock. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, like
We have reported even that, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We have reported that. If I tell you my experience, we have reported implants. We have that is in orthopedics. Then we have reported this defibrillators which have not functioned. Hemodialysis machines. In most of the cases, the incidents never happened. That's what we got the information that the incident was avoided. But still, we have reported the incidents. Then we have reported on electric cautery that is used during surgeries, which had malfunctioned. And we have reported in from ophthalmology department few instruments that are used. We have reported from.
And generally hospitals, management will fear that somewhere they will be caught and they will be put into some issues and all. So like what do you say about
Nothing to fear. Nothing to fear in that matter.
Yeah.
See, our aim is only to bring our attention towards the medical device related adverse events. We need to know that these are devices and that difference itself says that they have a very short lifespan.
See, what
And
I
they,
think is, suppose, you buy a car, okay, you buy a car, you start running on the road and suddenly some kind of, sound comes in. Then will you report it to the company or not? You will
we do
report,
report
right?
it, sir.
You will report, right? Now.
Yes, sir.
So similarly, if you are in the healthcare sector and if some machine is not working, you need to report to the machine provider and
Yes,
also
sir.
to the regulator, so that
Yes.
suppose if it is an isolated event, then maybe the company will take a note of it and they will do the corrective action or replace the part. Suppose if it is a repeated event, then they will have to recall the whole batch of the instruments that are manufactured, and that need to be finally either they will have to relaunch the product after proper corrective measures.
Yes, sir. That is what we need. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we should not accept any kind of poor quality of care because of the defective devices.
And we have to reassure our health professional that it is okay to report. Just like drugs, please report even those related to drugs. It is not your mistake.
So
There
one
is
more
nobody is
question
blaming
there
you.
here. Are PSURs mandatory to all classes of devices? So,
PSUR, I don't
No,
think it
like,
has.
no, what
It's
I'm
not
saying
yet.
is,
It's not, as I told.
yeah, say according to according to this, there are guidelines that are released, medical device guidelines released by the CDSC board. There, I think I was just surfing through it. I got to know that, and also here also it is mentioned also. I think Pooja has answered. Not all devices require the PSUR, but this key class of drugs where like post-marketing surveillance is advised. Okay, so that the PMS strategy need to be put in place, or risk management strategy need to be kept in place. In such situations, PSURs need to be mandatorily reported to the regulatory agencies as per the requirement. Especially as you know that classes of medical devices are classified devices are classified based on the risk, low risk, little risk, and moderately risk and high risk. So like that. So according to the risk category, maybe you may have to report the PSUR. That is one part it is already there. And also in different countries, it is already answered here also. Like different countries, different countries will have a different regulation. So accordingly, we need to look into what is really happening in the different countries.
And there are few devices that will be imported as well. So they have their own regulations also. So yeah, it's a huge area. That's why I'm telling the younger generation to do some research on the medical devices and follow up these devices. It's a good area for study.
Since we have come to the time is also the limit. So we will make him. I have opened the comment box in the WhatsApp also, so that anyone who is interested, so they can also ask questions there. So we'll find out from the experts, and also we'll also search through it, and if possible, go through the guidelines, and then we'll answer separately. Probably. So I congratulate you for excellent presentation. Let me just show the certificate I made for you to all my viewers here, so that it's a kind of appreciation from my side. Can you end your presentation?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, in India,
yeah, I'm sorry.
ma'am, in India, like if we want to report that only toll-free number on mobile app, and if you were talking about a form which is provided, is this form available online, or you can take this form from the center?
Actually, the problem is the form has been removed now. We are reporting it online itself. We have that website I showed you, right? ADRMS.
Ma'am, if I am a consumer and if I want to report an adverse event, then can I report through an online form, or mobile app or toll-free number?
Mobile app. I think for consumers it is mobile app or toll-free number.
Like in US, if you want to report an adverse event, you can report through a MedWatch or a form given online.
I don't think ADRMS is easy for the consumer to enter. It needs a lot of detail. I would suggest, I think toll-free number and the mobile app would be good for the consumers. Okay. It will be easy for them to use. We need to have a more user-friendly application.
Okay. So very nice. Thank you so much. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Padmaja.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, another one question, please.
Yes, please go ahead.
This is Dr. Nipagoda from Kempegoda Institute of Medical Science.
Yes, sir.
So we want to create some awareness. We are planning to create an awareness in August month in dental college and medical college and also paramedical staff and all.
Yes.
Okay.
So can you share the slides, whatever, madam, please?
Yeah, no problem. I'll share it. No issues. I'll share you the MVPI slides with you. No problem.
Okay, madam.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You can do the changes according to the recent regulations if you go through few of the websites.
We'll do that one, madam. So we'll take that one.
I'll share you the main this one. You can share me your mail ID on WhatsApp.
neepagoda@gmail.com, madam. I'll share
If you can message me
message.
on WhatsApp.
Message in the group, no? Message in the
Group.
or, yeah, you can send it to me.
In MPS group, MPS National Webinars.
Yeah, webinar group is there, no? You can send it to me there, or you can say you have my email, you have my phone number.
Phone number is there, sir.
You have my number, no? Yeah, so you can send it to me, or you can send in the webinar group. Okay,
okay, already shared, madam. Email ID.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much. I think that's good. Good to hear that it has created awareness among so many people, and I should congratulate the MPS and also all the participants because
I would like to thank, sir. I would like to thank Dr. Shivamurthy sir and the MPS group for giving me this opportunity to do this presentation. Though I was a little bit hesitant about doing it on MBPI because we all are pharmacologists. Anyways, we are doing this. I think we are doing a good job here. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was all your encouragement.
Yeah, good. I would like to put on record that we crossed almost 650 people, who were registered for this program, and more than 400 people attended already during
very nice.
I think through the Zoom it is 100 people, and in YouTube, already 300, 300 or 400 views has already happened. And
very encouraging.
Yeah, so it will reach, most probably 1,000 views.
I think, we should now start reporting MDAs. It's not a big thing. We can do it. If you go walk through the hospital, you'll find 10 reports there. None of the BP apparatus will be working in the hospital, so you can report it.
Yeah. So congratulations to you, and
you.
definitely we will conduct more programs in our hospital also. I just discussed with yesterday with the medical devices people, engineers came. I also encouraged them also.
Okay,
I'm sure we have to put a little bit more energy into it, and we can use the undergraduates to generate awareness. Okay, so with this, I would like to congratulate all the participants and also you as a speaker and the MPS for achieving a collective goal of bringing the awareness about medical devices and their safer method of using, and also reporting them, so that the faulty devices can be removed from the market. And at the same time, we can give more safer services to the patients. Okay, with this, thank you so much, and I would like to end the call. And I request everyone to subscribe to MPS channel, and also maybe if possible you can join the society as life member if you are an MD pharmacologist. And we will be conducting, we will be coming up with MPS Con 2026 in most probably next year. It will be at CD Cymer Hospital, the Chandramadhyana Cyber Hospital, Bangalore South, and it's on the Kanakpura Road, Bangalore. And looking forward to see you all. And please inform about MPS activities to all your friends at all the medical colleges and encourage them to become MPS life members. And also, wherever possible, please do provide the resources by supporting donations and also purchasing the MPS books. Crucial pharmacology friends books are available for postgraduates to enjoy the knowledge that is given by 100+ authors through MPS Society. And also clinical trials management book is available for the youngsters, especially those who are interested to become clinical trial coordinator or clinical trial associate, or anyone who is interested to join the clinical research industry. It's a very small book, around 135 pages, and it gives the quick review of all the clinical trials requirements in a very useful way, and you can refer this before going to your before going to any interview or anything for joining as a clinical research coordinator or the associate and assistant and pharmacovigilance assistant like this. So thank you so much for giving your attention. Looking forward to see you in our next program. We will be conducting many more webinars. We will be looking forward for your active participation. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.